Well, hello and welcome back to this episode, the unique episode of the Light Path podcast. As many of you seasoned listeners will know, I don't often jump on not often, I never have actually jumped on and dedicated an episode to cosmic interpretation in terms of the universe and what is happening. I have talked on this podcast before about the work I do on the moon membership, being the moon mentor on that, leading our members in every new and full moon that we go through. It is a core spiritual practice of mine. It is one that keeps me accountable to my self-concept, to my evolving, and to my divine feminine nature, because it is a very ancient ritual and expression of the divine feminine to flow with the energy and the cycles of the moon. And on our YouTube channel, if you are someone that watches our podcast via our YouTube channel, you will know this. But for those of you that don't, the Light Path Collective does have a YouTube channel where I upload every podcast video form, but I also upload in video form a synopsis of each new and full moon. So what you will notice is that I never bring this information out into the public sphere, and I had no intention of doing so. I'm going to be really honest with you. But as I sat and I was channeling for the upcoming solar eclipse in Aries, it is a really significant new beginning because the day afterwards, Neptune moves into Aries. And this is one of the most significant astrological transits or changes of 2025, which is already a very significant year because of it being a 9-year numerologically speaking, and because of the number of planets changing signs, highly unusual. Ultimately, we are walking into a new era of energetics, often many of which none of us have ever lived before. And as I channeled the guidance for the moon membership in the new moon in Aries, or the solar eclipse in Aries, I said to the moon members, the premium members specifically, that I would make them a video about this transit into Neptune. And it was solely going to be from them, and I wasn't really going to talk about it very much on socials and definitely not on the podcast. But after I did that, I totally changed my mind. And I guess that's a sign of the times. It's a sign of, really respecting my intuition and my soul's calling. So as a result, I'm actually making them a workbook as their bonus for being a premium member and to really help them harness this new era of awakening. So they're getting the video and they're getting that because I just felt like I felt really called to share this information. And so I'm going to heed that call. So this is going to be a unique podcast because you won't hear many of them like this out in the world. But if you do want the new and full moon synopsis each month, you can go to the YouTube channel and get that. That's no problem. It's just not, as far as I'm aware of at the moment, but things change, is not going to be part of this podcast series. So this is a very unique insight. And it will also give you an insight to the type of work I channel for the moon membership as well. If that's something that has interested you, jump on. First 30 days are free, so just try it. It's basic. The format is I give you all the information and you do with it what you shall. I'm not like leading you in a one-on-one or a group ritual. I'm giving you all the ritual resources, all the information, all the journal prompts, everything. And then you decide what you do with that, because as you'll see, this is very reflective of the sovereignty that we've been working on in the last 2 years especially, and what is being asked for us to call forward, as you will understand that decision when I talk about the significance of Neptune moving into Aries and what we can expect in this new era. So let's get on with the information. So as I said, 2025 is a very profound year because there are so many cosmic shifts that are unfolding. And Neptune moving into Aries for the first time in 164 years is probably one of the biggest. Neptune will be entering Aries and staying there until 2039. And this transit marks the beginning of a totally new spiritual and collective era, one that influences our dreams, our ideals, and the way we take inspired action towards versions of our highest selves. Neptune is the planet of mysticism, of illusion and dreams and higher consciousness. And it has spent the last 14 years in Pisces, its home sign. So it's been very comfortable there. And in Pisces, Neptune energy has us being deeply introspective and ethereal. And it helps us tap into, notice I use the words tap into, spiritual connection, creativity, and intuition. But it also brings a lot of escapism, disillusionment, and confusion to the surface. So what that really means in practical sense, and how I've observed it, is the rise of pseudo-spiritual practices. How it's trendy to have a yoga practice, knowing that yoga has nothing to do with physical acumen and it has everything to do with connection to self. Like, you do yoga so you can sit in meditation, not I do yoga so I have a chance to meditate. The rise in the pseudo-spiritual approaches to manifestation that many of you that have followed me for a while know that I quite publicly detest, because it is very surface level, it is very escapism. But now, upon reflection and with hindsight, I am beginning to see how it has served its purpose. Because now as Neptune moves into Aries, we're having this radical shift in energy. Aries is ruled by Mars, and that is the sign of action, initiation, and individuality. So the dreamlike waters of Neptune are about to be set on fire. And what it's doing is it is urging us to bring the visions into tangible form. Neptune moving into Aries is literally like waking up from a really long dream and realizing, oh gosh, it's time to act. So all those practices that we've learnt over the last, how long has it been? 14 years, where Neptune has been in Pisces, of like visualization and affirmations and like trusting the universe. All of that is going to get grounded into action now. So the pseudo-spiritual ideals of sitting back and waiting now comes into aligned action and proactive spirituality. So I'm excited because it's what I'm all about. So this is a time where collectively we are going to be set on spiritual fire. It's a time of courageous visionary visions. I guess that was terribly put. And it's really like pioneering consciousness. So we're going to ignite a new collective sense of purpose and direction, urging us to bring our dreams into action rather than just feeling into them, contemplating them, and hoping for them. So I'm having massive realizations now. I'm like, oh, that's why I've hated all this pseudo-spiritual stuff, because obviously I've been so ready for Neptune to shift signs and to bring it grounded. And I've actually spent, I feel like, the last 14 years collecting tools, strategies, approaches to do this. So it's no surprise, like, and I did not plan this, but this is why I've just recently launched the self-concept sessions. Because it's like, okay, you see yourself that way, right? Well, what do we need to do to become it? What do we need to do to authentically embody it? And is that an authentic vision of yourself, or is that just an idealized one? One that you have adopted from influences that really shouldn't have a say in your sovereignty. So the key themes of this transit is going to be like the rise of the spiritual warrior. Neptune in Aries will a bold and fearless approach to spirituality. Like, it's not going to be fluffy and nice anymore. I mean, it might still be fluffy and nice, but it's also going to be like, it's not a time where we can no longer just believe in stuff. Now we have to embody it and take action on our spiritual truths. The values pathway is another huge addition to this that I launched that a couple of years ago now, where we have to sit in our values and write them as mission statements. I'm realizing I'm very ahead of my time, and I just want to clarify that and say this has got nothing to do with me and everything to do with my channel. So everything that I do for work, it just comes through, it's channeled through. I don't sit and strategize it. And actually what has come through recently in terms of the work I will be doing, it's literally based on having no strategy and teaching people how to live that way and work that way. There's a little hint of what's coming up, of what I'm launching soon. So it's not me. I'm not wise. I just listen to my intuition and I follow it, even though I have no idea what I'm doing. I trust myself. I work on myself. So I can embody and take action on what I truly do believe in, even if I don't know how or why I believe in it. It always comes true, right? I'm expressing that now. I didn't know why I didn't believe in all this manifestation BS and the way it was being delivered, but now I do. Now I know. Ultimately, in the rise of the spiritual warrior vibe, we're being called to live our ideals and to defend what we believe in and to be courageous leaders of new consciousness. Are you with me? Are you with me? I hope so. So it is the end of passive dreaming and the start of action-based alignment. Neptune in Aries is going to demand that we move from wishful thinking to inspired action. So this era of simply visualizing and waiting for things to happen, it's done, it's over. It's time to channel intuition into movement, spiritual insight into real world transformation. That doesn't mean that we have to constantly be pushing and moving ahead, which is why on this podcast I'm also going to be talking a lot about the divine feminine, because how do we do this in the divine feminine way of creation, of connection, of community, of nurturing, and not in that masculine way of pushing forward. So it's a really interesting balance to play out there. It is a transit of rebirth of self-identity and personal power. Aries rules identity and self-discovery and individuality. So Neptune's influence, while it's hanging out in Aries, will help us challenge and redefine who we are. And it is going to do what we do a lot here on the Moon Membership and on the Light Path Collective. It's going to peel away false narratives and ego-based illusions, basically. So this transit is really a moment of identity confusion in a lot of ways. And that confusion is great because we have to go through the confusion to come to clarity about what is true for us, authentic to us and our path. It is an era of spirituality meets innovation, which is exciting. So in this period, where we're going to find that spirituality will become more active and passionate and assertive. And expect a rise in spiritual activism. New healing modalities, which will be so exciting. I'm so excited to see what comes up. And really innovative approaches to personal transformation. And those who have been hesitant to step into their soul's calling because of their egoic fears and all those things will definitely feel the fire of initiation now. It's going to dissolve old leadership structures, which I'm sure many people around the world will be cheering given what we're seeing unfold at the moment. Because Aries governs leadership and courage, and Neptune comes to dissolve what is outdated and no longer serves. So over the next decade, we're going to witness the fall of leaders and leadership systems that no longer serve the greater good or the collective, which is why the rise of the divine feminine is so important. Shifting from the patriarchy to the matriarchy. Do I expect that to happen in 10 years? No, I do not. Do I expect that to happen in my lifetime? No, I do not. Do I sit back and go, not my problem? No, I do not. Every step that we take puts a paver down on the path for our future generations to walk upon. Like the women that did before us. From the suffragette movement, from the witches. I have Scottish hereditary. So hereditary? What's hereditary? I have Scottish heritage. So it's very close to me. It's a part of myself I shunned for so many years, and it's only a part of myself I'm awakening now, and I can't tell you how much I am loving it and how much strength I'm getting from it. Even though it might not be an experience where we reap the rewards of our labor, we toil anyway. Why? Because it is the right thing to do. Over the next decade, we're going to see waves of new generations of visionaries come through, spiritual pioneers and soul-led entrepreneurs. And I'm grinning from ear to ear as I say that last statement. Soul-led entrepreneurs, just tuck that away in the back of your mind, because in a few weeks you might see why I'm cheekily smiling there. It's an age of intuitive rebellion. Can we just say that again? It's an age of intuitive rebellion. Bring it on. Aries thrives on being really independent and breaking new ground. And Neptune brings collective visions and ideals. So this could ignite a movement of people breaking free from really restrictive societal beliefs that have been held maybe for a very long time, and choosing to live by our own soul-led truths, which are for the greater good of all. Now, the last time in history this happened, a lot of revolutions were happening around the world, the French and the American, just to name a couple. Well, just to name the main ones that were happening at this time. So revolutionary energy, but I want to stress, it doesn't mean we're going to have it in the same form. Back then, it was a very survival-based revolution. I have been doing a deep dive into the French Revolution just out of interest, and I just have found this really amazing history podcast on it. I love the way it's presented. So I like to learn. So I'm learning a lot about it that I didn't know before. And what I'm surmising from that is it was like needs based, like the people couldn't eat, like they couldn't afford to buy bread, and the people were dying, and so they rose up out of survival. I think this revolution is going to be different in it. We're going to rise up out of ideals. We're going to rise up out of truths. So what can we expect? Well, we're going to expect a period of recalibration. So many of us will be called to redefine ourselves and shift careers and paths and identities that align more with our deeper truths. It's going to be a time of heightened intuition coupled with inner fire. So expect a surge of spiritual download, a growth in psychic abilities, and sudden realizations that really push you forward in action. I'm not saying that there's going to be a rise in psychics, but because we are all psychic, but there's a rise in that ability within ourselves. And so that is going to propel us forward. Like if you listen to that, you're sweet. If you listen to the ego, once you hear that and you listen to the ego, you're stuck. Self-illusions may be exposed, so just be mindful of that self-deception. Neptune in Aries may bring up moments of ego disillusionment and challenge to us to see ourselves honestly. But to be honest, if you're with me and the Light Path Collective and you're on the Moon membership, you do that work all the time. So this is a walk in the park for us. Like, we welcome this. We actually choose to sit in this energy every 2 and a bit weeks. So we're like, we got this. This is sweet. And if you want to enhance that skill within yourself, join the Moon membership. It's all there for you. It's going to be a time of rapid alignment with our spiritual goals. So basically, energy, the universe, higher self, whatever you want to call it, is going to respond faster than ever to aligned actions, making it an incredible time and a potent time for soul-led entrepreneurship, for purpose-driven work, and intuitive leadership, or dare I say it, female leadership. It's a fire igniting collective change. So old paradigms of passive spirituality that I touched on before will fade, and it's going to be replaced by soul-led activism, courageous truth-seeking, and spiritual warriors that are ready to build a new world. Look, can't deny it. Neptune in Aries is going to mark a powerful awakening for personal and collective power. The passivity of the past dissolves. It served a purpose. I do want to say that. I feel like I'm dumping on the past. I'm not. It served a purpose. It awakened us a little bit. The pseudo-spirituality actually awakens people to spiritual ideals, ways of thinking, and integrating into their own truths. So great. Love that. But now is the time where it actually gets real, you know? It's a place where new fires will burn. And these will call us to act, to lead, and to live in alignment with our soul's highest truth. The last 14 years have been about feeling and dreaming, and the next 14 are going to be about creating, embodying, and initiating. The time of waiting is over. The time for being bold, soul-led, and courageous is here. Who are you becoming? And how will you choose to live and lead in this new era? Like I said, if you want to stay up to date with the cosmic climate, join the Moon membership, because you get it all there and you get held in it there. If you're ready to work on the blocks and barriers to your self-concept session is there. We're here for you. This is what we're here to do, to lighten your path. So I hope you enjoyed that little offbeat or off trend for my podcast series episode. But you know what? I trusted my intuition to bring it towards you. So if it's landed in your ears and you have benefited from it, my heart is full, and it's really lovely to connect with you in this way. Until next episode, back to normal programming, sending you so much love and light in this new era where we shall rise together.